Vacaville, it was called medical facility, but half of Vacaville was for the nutters, as you'd call them. Charlie Manson was there. Kemper. I don't know if you remember Kemper.
Yeah, yeah, he's quite famous right now because they've got this new program that's out about the serial killer profiling. And I think he was the first episode. Did you interact with either of those guys?
Well, I saw Kemper because he people were afraid of him because he was a total psycho. I mean, he was carrying around human heads in his car and all sorts of people's body parts in the fridge. But he was a huge guy. And so somebody talked him into going to the weight pit to see how much he could weigh, how much he could push. And he didn't push weights, but he lay down on the bench press and they piled on all the iron they could find. And he bench pressed it. And of course, after that, nobody wanted to be near him, right? Because he could put one hand around someone's throat and just choke them out. So anyway, they kept him on Thorazine and Prolixin. They used to call it the Prolixin shuffle, where fellas would be dribbling, what, just moving at about quarter speed, basically human zombies.
Yeah, I saw guys line up for the meds and then they're doing that shuffle in the jails in Arizona. So you're in Vacaville. What happens in Vacaville over this period of time?
Well, they want to see how you handle yourself, because basically what happens is there's psych reviews and psychological testing, and then the guards write a report about how you act. And of course, the problem is, for Northern California, all people who get sentenced go to Vacaville. So you've got, your car thief looking at 18 months or 2 years, in with some guy from the Nuestra Familia or the Emmy or Black Gorilla Family on the same yard at the same time. So it made for some exciting events.
Did you see anything happen, like anyone get stabbed, rivalries, anything like that in Vacaville?
Well, almost the first day I was out on the yard, I went to the weight pit because, well, you saw my picture. I seriously need to upgrade my physique. And I was like a geek, a middle class college white geek with no experience on the street, no gang membership. I'd never been to juvie or been through youth authority or any of that. And I realized I was out of my depth. So I immediately went out to the weight pit and thought I better do something. But of course, the problem is, if you can't lift real weight, then there you are looking like a girl lifting some tiny, which is embarrassing too. But almost the first day I was there, I saw this guy. He was huge, great physique, lying there doing bench presses. And, he was like, you thought, well, this guy would have no problem at all. And I'm sort of admiring him there. And the second I'm doing that, a gang of nesters come from behind the handball court, knock his spotter out of the way, and then they're jumping on him. One of them hit him on the head with a 10-kilo weight. He's unconscious, and there's in the chest. Right?
Wow.
And I didn't know what to do, and so I'm standing there, and everybody's running like deer for the gate, and then the guns go off, and bang, bang, gates are shut. Well, basically what happens there. So that was again one of these reality checks when you realize it's not happened to someone else, it's happening right here, and it could just as well be you. And if this guy, who's buffed to the max and obviously been in jail all his life, if he gets taken out that easily, well.
So there are various stages of adaptation. When I first went in, I'm seeing people get head smashed against toilets and stuff like that, and it's putting this look of shock on my face. And it was like 6 months later, I'm completely immune. I've just got this dead eyes look from it all. At this point where you're going in there, are you going through a period of shock and adjustment?
Well, the shock is the reality that you could get taken out anytime. If someone wants to take you out, they're going to take you out.
Yeah.
Now, you don't feel that when you're outside in regular life. We don't confront life and death situations, certainly not in middle-class white communities like I grew up in. So I realized that there are two things I had to do. until I was able to physically deal with people, I had to keep my head down. So, like the little deer, just stay still and stay quiet and try to just not be seen. That's the first adjustment.
How long did it take you to learn how to physically deal with people?
Well, I mean, the problem was that didn't work. There's nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
Everybody's watching everybody. And there's one thing that convicts are very good at, and that's sensing weakness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, weakness comes in many forms. Kindness is weakness. You give somebody a pack of cigarettes because they don't have a pack. That's weakness. And that the word will get around, and then pretty soon, you'll be handing your cigarettes out every canteen day to somebody.
Yeah.
And other things are weakness. Intelligence is weakness. I mean, that sounds strange, but the more intelligent you are, the more you see things from both sides. Well, there is no other side. There's just survival side, and you better see things that way and not be worried about what's motivating the other guy or what he has in his mind. So that's an adjustment.
Is the Aryan Brotherhood approaching you at this point?
Well, I noticed when in your podcasts, maybe Arizona is different from California, but California had what's called a private family visiting program. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
No.
But in California, if somebody was married to you, or if someone signed a marriage certificate with your name on it, they could come in and have a 48-hour trailer visit. So your wife could come in for 48 hours. And this was a really good way to, looking back on it, it was very civilized. Because the stuff you describe of sort of just violent gang rapes to anyone who was unable to defend themselves, and also, as you probably know, California is the land of fruits and nuts. I mean, there's enough people volunteering to trick in the prison without anyone having to force anybody. So again, that was one of the points I wanted to say was different from my experience.
Isn't that through the conjugal visit system how Tex Watson, didn't he have children? He got a woman pregnant and stuff through that in California. Manson's murderer.
Well, Charlie Manson, I remember I was on the yard and they had him in a monkey cage. Well, dog cage, monkey cage, sort of off the yard, but you could see him if you went to the fence. And he'd sit there like some Indian fakir, right? A monk with his dirty, uncombed, unwashed hair. And he looked like nothing. He just looked like a hobo, some deadbeat. But he got more mail in 1 week than every other prisoner in the prison did.
Grief.
Women were, it was just endless pictures and people volunteering to marry him and people wanting to come visit him, people sending him money. You wouldn't believe it. It was a phenomenon.
Yeah, I just finished watching the Ted Bundy tapes, and I think he proposed marriage while during the trial. He brought up a female visitor as a witness and proposed marriage to her right there, and she was all about Ted. Yeah.
Ted Bundy, yeah. So Charlie Manson, yeah, that was, of course, one thing I have to say about California prisons is they attracted media stars. They attracted famous people. You saw famous people. I mean, for example, Schwarzenegger came to Quentin when I was there, and he put on a show, and it was quite a drama, right?